Hello everyone, JenniferMaker here. It's time for a Cricut Design Space lesson. Let's learn how to cut puff vinyl with our Cricut cutting machine. Puff vinyl is a fun trend from the 80s and 90s that's making a comeback, and I'm so here for it. I just love the vintage look of it. We'll use my adorable puff vinyl designs to make a cute t-shirt for spring. Let's get started. Step 1. Get my free puff vinyl design files. Go to JenniferMaker.com/484 and look for libraries in the red bar at the top. Then either click Get a Password if you don't yet have one, or click Enter the library. Search the page for design number 484, and when you find it, click it to download the zip file. The download folder includes a PDF to cut by hand if you want, and DXF or SVG files for use with the cutting machine. Each file contains the designs to make one of 2 springtime puff vinyl t-shirts. I'll show you how to use the SVG cut files with the Cricut in this video. You can cut this project with any of the Cricut Maker or Explorer series machines. I'll be using my awesome Cricut Maker 3 for this project, and a sized down version can also be cut on the Cricut Joy. But be aware that the smaller you go, the more fine details will be lost when the vinyl puffs up. To begin, upload the SVG file of your choice to Cricut Design Space. I'll add this cute bunny, but I've also included another file with a porcupine that we'll use later. Both designs have a small flower shape for testing in them. Now, if you're not sure how to upload, go to JenniferMaker.com/svgs to learn how to unzip and upload files. Step 2. Prepare the puff vinyl design file. This is what my bunny SVG file looks like on my canvas. Cricut Design Space has helpful templates to assist you in resizing lots of projects, especially shirts. Click on Templates over on the left and then choose Classic T-shirts. If you don't see that option, search for it in the search bar. Then pick the style, size, and color you want. I'll choose a woman's short sleeve shirt in large and make it red. So under the color swatch, I'll click on the red, and as you'll see, it changes the color of the shirt. Super helpful. If you want to get rid of the grid lines on the canvas, you can click in the upper left-hand corner. I love how this looks. And don't worry, the template is for reference only and won't be part of your final design. See the little flower next to the bunny? That's our test flower. It's super important to test the time and temperature settings for puff vinyl, so don't skip this step. I've set the test flower to a different shade of grade to differentiate it in the design, so we don't accidentally include it in the other puff layer if we don't want to. But since we do need to test our new puff vinyl, we'll cut the test flower on the same mat as the bunny. So I'll make sure that everything is the same color. To do this, select the flower in the Layers panel. And let's use the color box again to change the flower to the same lighter shade of gray as the bunny. Now all of the elements will cut on the same machine mat. And we can move the flower to the side while we work on the bunny. Select the bunny and move it on top of the t-shirt template. I have a helpful chart of maximum recommended design sizes for different shirts available at JenniferMaker.com/t-shirt ruler guide. I usually size my vinyl decals based on width, but since these designs are taller than they are wide, I'll adjust the height instead. 9.75 inches tall looks good and is within the recommended dimensions, so I'll keep the lock icon closed and change the height box. Now it's important to note that you can resize your decal larger as long as it will completely fit under your heat press. I'm using a 12 by 10 inch easy press, so my puff vinyl design fits completely underneath. If you're using the 9 by 9 inch easy press, you will need to apply your puff vinyl in sections. Unlike other types of heat transfer vinyl, puff vinyl cannot be pressed in sections. Each piece has to be pressed all in one go for it to properly puff up. Otherwise, you'll see creasing and your design will not look the way you expect. You can resize your decal a bit smaller, but remember that you might lose some detail since the puff vinyl slightly expands after pressing. All right, so once you've got it the right size, The design is now ready to cut. Step 3. Cut and weed your puff vinyl. When you're ready, make sure the correct machine is selected. I'm using my Cricut Maker 3. Then click the green Make It button. On the Prepare screen, keep the material size at 12 by 12 inches. Make sure the correct design pieces are on the right mats if you're cutting them out of the same material. Since I'm cutting all of my pieces from the same color of vinyl on the same mat. If you see a mistake, just click Cancel to go back and fix it. Click and drag your text flower and your text out within the open area. Each piece of the design needs some breathing room since we'll cut and apply them separately. The puff vinyl is 10 inches wide, so keep the designs within that area. And then be sure to toggle the mirror option on. Mirror must be on for puff vinyl. That way the decals will face the right direction when we flip them over and apply them onto our t-shirt. And then click Continue. On the Make screen, set your base material to Everyday Iron-On and set the pressure at More. This setting worked well with the white VTS Super Puff Iron-On vinyl that I used, but every machine is different, so a test cut is often an excellent idea. Now, there isn't a material setting in Cricut Design Space for puff vinyl, but I found that the Everyday Iron-On setting worked great for me. Cut a piece of white puff vinyl big enough to cover the design area shown on the mat on your screen. Apply your puff vinyl to your green standard grip machine mat with the shiny side up. Unlike Everyday Iron-On vinyl, which is always applied shiny side down. All right, so you want it shiny side up. The puff vinyl's carrier sheet is duller than the other iron-on vinyls that you might be used to, so it should be easy to tell which is which. Again, you want to apply the VTS Super Puff Iron-On vinyl shiny side up. Now use your brayer to adhere it well to the mat. Make sure your fine point blade is clean and in clamp B. Insert the machine mat into your Cricut and press the flashing button to load it, and then press the middle button to cut the vinyl. When it's ready, unload the mat and flip it over onto your work surface, then gently roll it back to release the vinyl. If you want to make your shirt with my cute porcupine design, it's really similar to the bunny, but I used Cricut Everyday Iron-On vinyl for the words Rise and Shine, and then I used VTS Super Puff for the porcupine. And you, of course, can use whichever colors and types of vinyl you want. They don't have to match mine. The choice is always up to you. The puff vinyl and the Everyday Iron-On vinyl both use the same cut settings. On the Make screen, click your first mat and set the base material to Everyday Iron-On and set the pressure to More. Check the Remember Material Settings box to apply the settings to all of your mats. Now cut a piece of puff vinyl large enough for the porcupine and the test flower, and then remember to adhere it to the mat shiny side up. When it's time to cut the words, cut a piece of Everyday Iron-On vinyl big enough to fit the text on the mat. I'll use a brayer to adhere the Everyday Iron-On vinyl to the mat shiny side down. If you have any trouble cutting your vinyl, check out my Cricut tips and tricks for cleaner cuts at JenniferMaker.com/blades. And there we go. Now everything is cut and you're ready to create your iron-on puff vinyl t-shirt. For the iron-on directions, go to JenniferMaker.com/484. I have a full application video on puff vinyl for you to follow. And if you have any questions at all, please leave them right below this video or come ask over in our Cricut Crafters group at JenniferMaker.com/Cricut Crafters. And please post your photos. I would love to see all of your puff vinyl creations. Until next time, this is Jennifer Maker reminding you to craft a life you love.